Welcome, viewers and listeners, to the Health Revolution, the program that shows you how to have a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity. In a sea of fads, we reveal the science-backed strategies that truly work. We explore physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery. These are the keys to an enriched life. Join us for inspiring interviews with champions who conquered life's health challenges, fueling your journey. Are you ready to unlock your potential? To live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest. Together, we're about to change the game, starting now. The information provided in this show is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Viewers should use their own discretion and consult with a healthcare professional for personalized guidance and recommendations. I'd like to welcome you to the Health Revolution. I'm so excited that you are joining us today. I'm Adriana Morrison, your host, and it's going to be a fantastic episode. Now, no matter which way you're tuning into us, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. We want to stay connected to you. So getting into it, the beginning segment of our show always talks about unlocking the potential and having the keys. And today we're going to illustrate what does it mean to have the keys, the master keys. What would it be like if we had the master keys to our optimal health and wellness? How do we envision this? How do we define this? So my guest today is an incredible human being who has spent quite the amount of time understanding, obtaining, crafting this path to obtaining the master keys to health and wellness. So let's get to know who he is. Check this out. Meet Ian Clark, a visionary CEO and thought leader in the health and wellness industry. Ian has transformed his personal health crisis into a lifelong mission to uncover and share revolutionary health protocols that are little known yet highly impactful. After being diagnosed with life-threatening health issues at the age of 46 and given less than 3 years to live, Ian refused to accept this fate. His relentless pursuit of health took him around the world, where he discovered powerful natural remedies and learned about the body's innate ability to heal itself. In 2006, Ian founded Activation Products, dedicating his company to sourcing only the finest ingredients and creating top-level products to enhance quality of life and longevity. Whether discussing the elephant in the room, humbling realities, or the 3 keys to unlocking health, Ian's insights challenge conventional wisdom and inspire a new way of thinking about health and wellness. Ian's message is powerful. Don't settle for subpar health. It's not worth it. Ian Clark, welcome to the show. How are you?
Adriana, doing very well, and I'm very excited to be here and share all these profound things with your audience.
You know, I can't wait to get into it. You and I had talked earlier than today, and you have a fascinating backstory as to where your path is taking you today. Talk about what your health journey was like, and then the trajectory that came to be that really changed everything.
Well, my real health journey started around 2004 when I had these major health problems, and here we are 20 years later. So if I could go back to myself in 2004, instead of costing $1.5 million in 7 years to resolve these issues naturally, it would probably take 3 or 4 months at the most, and only a few $1,000s, even life-threatening things. And so today I'm very thankful that I've learned what I've learned, and I didn't come up with any of these things myself. I simply researched researchers and was led through many synchronicities and guidance to meet people who had the most profound and the simplest ways of us ourselves supporting our health in what I call a self-care revolution. And it's, yeah, now here we are to share these things rather than have to go through all the iterative processes I had to go through. Now people can learn the most important things to do that work the easiest, that cost the least amount of time, least amount of effort, energy, and the least amount of money, and how to get the body to become healthier every day. And I turn 66 in a month from now, and I'm healthier than I was when I was 21. And I feel better than I was when I was 21. And I felt great at 21. So this is what we are looking forward to bringing to people and getting them tapped in to the greatest levels of understanding when it comes to human health.
You know, when we think about our health and medicinal properties and the things that are supposed to keep us healthy, you know, doctors and, you know, we turn to medicine and science, or historically we have, where we find so very many of the answers. What was the first stumbling block for you where your hands were tied and you weren't getting anywhere? What were some of the issues that you were facing that really changed the game for your health?
Well, the first thing I had to come to realization is that I had no knowledge. Any knowledge I had was damaging. What I knew and what I was doing was actually killing me. I wasn't into drinking or smoking or drugs or anything weird at all. I was just a regular family guy. I had stopped all the partying stuff when I was 21. I had watched both my uncles die when I was 20 on my mom's side of the family. They were 51 and 54 years old. They died 2 days apart in September 1978, which left a massive impact on our family because we're like, what just happened? You know, my one uncle was diagnosed a year before his death, the other one 3 months before his death. Both were told they had cancer. One had time to go through all the iterative things of, you know, the chemo, the radiation, the surgeries, the blah, blah. The other one didn't even have time. He was just so full of cancer that he just simply was told, get your affairs in order, you're out of here. And both of them followed the exact instructions of the doctor, believed everything they were told, and they died right on time. And I just thought, wow, like, what's going on? So here, you know, 26 years later, in 2004, I thought, well, they must have something better than 1978. Seriously, like I had a major tumor in the perineum of my body, which is in the very bottom of the torso between the legs. Terrible place to have one. And I had heart disease symptoms, and I didn't know at the time, but I had major liver problems. I would find that out in the next 2 years. And I was being told by the doctors the same thing. Like they were just treating me like a number, like a statistic, and telling me I had to do surgery, I had to do this, or whatever. And I wouldn't allow, fortunately, somebody told me that don't allow any biopsies, because if they do a biopsy to determine whether you have cancer or not, it could metastasize. So they were just going by, they only have markers to go by, and all the markers were very bad, but I wouldn't accept any kind of diagnosis. And I definitely wasn't going to get their treatment. Like every time I would turn around, I would catch them guessing, and they're not supposed to be guessing. They're supposed to know and be trained and be able to tell you, this is exactly what the deal is. This is exactly what you should do. And it wasn't like that. So I lost confidence in doctors, and I believe doctors help people every single day in a real way. I mean, hospitals save people's lives all the time, but there's an element of the medical world that I feel is very guessing and not able to really help in these situations. You know, and it turns out that everything I had was nothing that they said I had. And any of the solutions that they offered me at the time were nothing at all with what actually worked, which took 7 years to get rid of the tumor, 5 years to get rid of the heart disease. And then the liver, that took from the time I found out about 3 years, not even quite 3 years, to deal with that. And that was with the limited knowledge I had naturally at the time.
You
So,
know, I
yeah.
I find that you're bringing up a really good point, and you're illustrating something that is we're starting to have more conversations about that in terms of the training and doctors having. And I'm wondering, and I'm curious about your opinion on this. To what extent is it that the training they receive is already outdated based on the evolving information we're getting with how our bodies are responding in terms of concerning health issues, in terms of situations that are cancerous? What's your take on that? Because you're right about the guessing game. And if anything, it's best to say, gosh, I'm limited with what I know. Let me see if I can find out.
Well, there's two segments that we're dealing with. So one segment is when you have a genetic disorder or you have a very, very serious sudden thing like a child having a brain tumor or something like this that blows people away, like, well, what do we do? They have a huge amount of training and knowledge and technology around dealing with these things. Like, if somebody has an aneurysm, for example, they get in there, they know exactly what they're doing. They are so dialed in. And it's so ultra sophistication over the last 50, 60 years of things they could never have dealt with, they can go and deal with very, very accurately. And then the other part of the equation is when people are just simply getting contaminated. They're eating all the wrong food. They're not doing anything, not getting stressed. They're not detoxifying. It's just a disaster. And they're fueling their body incorrectly. And then all of these genetic expressions that come up, like, maybe you would express cancer or I would express heart disease, whatever. It doesn't matter. All of the studies and all of the testing and all the stinking drugs that they offer people, which are very bad for you, are simply trying to remedy a symptom at a top level based upon studies that are based upon garbage human being bodies that are filled with trash. And I don't no interest in those studies whatsoever. Those studies are nothing to do with you and I. We're in the health space, and we're interested in getting our bodies healthier every day in every single category. And that means we have to know how to fuel our system, how to hydrate, proper rest, proper digestion, proper circulatory, proper endocrine system, proper autonomic nervous system. So we're not in sympathetic stress running around all day, killing ourselves. So it's just a different world like that. I see the very distinct separation, where you've got the doctors having somebody come in the hospital in an ambulance from a car accident. Wow. I mean, the stuff they can pull and do and put bodies back together is just phenomenal. Or somebody just had a massive heart attack. But, here we are today. We're talking about healthy people getting healthier. And it's not my job to go and deal with somebody who is about to die or is in the dying process. Our job is living people who want to be more alive, healthy people that want to be healthier. And we have the solutions for those things.
Have you seen in your studies, and there's so many questions I want to ask you, have you seen in your studies that this is a global situation that is just no matter where you turn? I know here in North America, I do want to just recognize that you're in Canada, but here in North America, we've seen some trends that just have evolved with society that can connect the dots. What have you noticed as you started looking at some of this information and just putting two and two together?
Well, it is definitely a global issue because it's a what I call the mass mind. So just like we saw during the last few years, all of a sudden the whole world believed something and then took action all at once, all the same way. And all the governments and all the everything just joined in and they had this mass mind problem. So it's definitely a global thing. But you can see a very significant difference between Western and Eastern. So Western is definitely more leaning towards allopathic. Eastern is definitely leaning towards naturopathic. You still have a combination of both in both places. But there's ancient wisdom from places like India, China, Japan, and then Europe. In North America, we're more what we'll call modern, I guess, but you see way, way more health problems with a much higher ratio in North America. Canada is no different than the U.S. It's the same. In fact, I think Canada is worse because it has so-called free sick care. They call it healthcare. It's no more healthcare than fly a kite. And because it's free, then people go, oh, I'm fine. I don't need to worry about cause. I can abuse my body and they'll fix me. It's like, no, they won't. No, they're not going to fix you. It's the worst thing. It'd be much better if you had to pay $150,000 for a surgery. People would pay a little closer attention to making sure they don't need the surgery, you know?
That's true. You said something a few moments ago that I thought was fascinating. I've never attempted to use this terminology to define, the state of where we are with our bodies physically. You talked about that we've been contaminating our bodies. Where did we get wrong? Where did we get it wrong?
Well, most of where we get it wrong is not your personal fault. It's more of a fault of society where you have pollutants being released into the air we're breathing en masse. It's all invisible mostly. If you can see it, it's really high concentration. Like if you see smoke or you can smell different things, that's high concentration. Most of it is this massive amount that you can't smell, taste, or see in the form of things like tire dust from cars and trucks, brake dust, fuel, construction materials, all the plastics, all the stuff, all the whatever. There's like a list of 1,000 things in the air that we breathe. And you are personally breathing 11,000 liters every day of air. That's a lot. And over the course of a year, it's 4 million liters of air. So between 20 and 60 years old, you're going to breathe 160 million liters of air more than you were when you were 20 at 60. And you can measure the body at that point and see kidney functions drop by 65% by the time you're 60. Why is that? Because all the garbage that you breathed in without realizing, because it's all nanoparticles in quadrillions of them, they plug up your body and they go right into your blood as soon as you breathe them. Like the very second you breathe air, all of those nanoparticles are in your bloodstream. A little bit builds up in your lungs over time, and that's why people get lung cancer and emphysema and all these different COPD things or whatever. But it does if they live long enough. The thing is that it goes instantly into your blood, and then that blood, which you only have 5 liters of blood in your body, it pumps 7,200 liters a day. So every 60 seconds, the entire 5 liters of blood has touched every single cell in your body. That delivers all that into your body continuously. Well, your filters, which is your kidneys and your liver, they get plugged up over time and they become hardened. They're not as efficient. And once you're 60, like look at a person at 60, they look pretty good, usually. Not bad. If they look bad, that they haven't been taking care of themselves. But look at them at 80. Just go 20 more years. Another 80 million liters of air, and they're not looking good if they're alive at all. That the average lifespan is 75 to 85. So when I started doing the math on it, I went, I don't care about their studies. Their studies are based on what? And they're not even talking about the massive things that are messing with us, which is the air we breathe, the fluids we drink, and the food we eat. And the food we eat is so messed up that we're mixing glucose with fat, and we're contaminating our bodies with all these toxic substances that react with each other when we eat them. And then we wonder why we get sick. It's like you have to learn about the food you're consuming. And it's not some fad diet. I tried every fad diet that there is, from raw food vegan to vegetarian to paleo, macrobiotic, carnivore, keto. They're all flawed because they're not bringing the clean fuel in that our body wants to run on. And so society is geared around all of that contamination in the food. If you look at every restaurant, every university, every church, every home, every kitchen, everywhere, every chef, it's all based upon combining glucose and fat. That's the diet. And think of how much your life is involved in sitting down and breaking bread with families and friends and dinners and restaurants, and that level of society that you're actually a prisoner of. That if you were set free from that, where you could just only eat food that fueled your body and not be tied to that particular social prison, which is all pleasure-based as well, is all based upon extremely good tasting food, perfect combinations in dinners, totally relaxed around tables. I love them. You can still do that and still fuel your body well. But because society has gone the opposite direction, all the studies, all the remedies are based upon us poisoning our body every day by combining glucose with fat.
This is fascinating. We're going to continue this conversation. First, we're going to take a break. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this. Hey, beauty enthusiasts, it's Adriana, and you're watching Fit Bites. Today, let's dive into a topic we all care about, skin health. Now, keeping our skin healthy isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling great too. So first up, let's talk hydration. Drinking plenty of water is essential for maintaining the moisture balance of your skin. Well-hydrated skin looks more plump, elastic, and vibrant. Next, nutrition is key. So foods rich in antioxidants such as berries, nuts, and green vegetables can protect your skin from damage by combating free radicals. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fish like salmon and in flax seeds are also fantastic for maintaining skin health. Sun protection is crucial. Always apply a broad spectrum sunscreen with at least SPF 30 to protect against UVA and UVB rays, even on cloudy days. Sun exposure is a major culprit behind skin aging and damage. Don't forget about sleep. Quality sleep allows your skin to repair itself from the day's stress. So aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night to help rejuvenate your skin. Lastly, regular skincare maintenance such as cleansing and moisturizing and using products appropriate for your skin type can help you maintain a healthy barrier and appearance. Stay tuned for more Fit Bites, and here's to glowing skin from the inside out. Welcome back to the Health Revolution. My guest today is Ian Clark. He is the founder of Activation Products. He's also an alternative healing thought leader, is how I like to recognize him. And before the break, we were talking about some of the elements that we as society are facing that are really, truly impacting our health in ways that we just don't talk about. So conversations like this are extremely impactful. And Ian, before the break, I have to edify how you were eloquently describing what the realities behind where we are today. And, you brought up the true picture of what we're exposed to. And one of the things that I'm curious about was, do you remember the turning point where the actual moment where you decided you had the determination to look at things differently, to do your own research, to get to the bottom of why you were experiencing what you were, and applying that knowledge so that you can be better, heal from all that you were experiencing.
Well, yeah, when you're given a basic death sentence from the medical world, usually it's a highly fear-based thing, and so immediately I was very afraid because I knew things were in my system. I could feel the tumor that grew very large, at the bottom between my legs, and it was like the worst place. So I thought, well, I could lay down and die like everybody else. I could just submit and give in to the treatments like you're supposed to do. Social acceptance is to just give in. Don't be some radical person off on some venture to find snake oil to heal yourself. My oldest brother was a medical doctor for 30 years in North Bay. And when I spoke with him, he told me this is genetic expression. There's nothing you can do about it. You've got genetic predisposition in your life. You look like Uncle Don. He died at 51, 26 years ago, and there's nothing he could do. And he said, I have had thousands of patients come through my clinic. He himself only had how many, but he had 11 doctors working with him in the clinic that he owned. And so he got to see all walks of life. He said, I've seen every religion, every race, every body shape and size and gender and every age group and the whole 9 yards. And he said, every single one of them are all based on genetic predisposition. So here's somebody who partied their face off and ate out of the dumpster for 94 years. And here's another guy eating all organic and juicing and dies at 36. And he was trying to convince me that I couldn't do anything about it. And definitely trying to convince me it was not my fault. I didn't have to take responsibility for anything. I wasn't doing anything unusual. It's just the cards that I was dealt. I thought, that sucks. That's not helping me at all. Nor were the doctors helping me there. So I came to the conclusion that it was like a live, die, sink or swim situation. I was either going to give up my responsibility to the medical institutions and let them take me and put me through their process, or I was going to take responsibility for myself. And if I was going to die, I was going to die at my own hands, not theirs. And I would do whatever it takes. I realized, I woke up one morning, this was the real turning point. I woke up one morning and I had this gut realization in my gut. I was like, there are people on this earth. I don't know where they are. I don't know who they are, but there are people who absolutely know what I need to do. They have to. And there's not only people who know that, but they have the highest level. There's people at the highest level of that knowledge. And if I could be led to them, I would be very interested. I would do whatever it takes. And so I made a request. I literally prayed about that. And because in your desperation, you will definitely reach out. And I wanted to be led. And so I said, if I would be, find favor and grace to be led to people, I would be open. I wouldn't concern myself in any way, shape, or form what I like or don't like. I don't worry about how what their lifestyle is. If they have information that is essentially important, I will listen and I will do whatever it takes. If I have to suffer at whatever level, so be it. Too bad for you. If I have to have fun all the time, good for me. If I have to spend money, no matter what, it's fine. Energy, time, I'm just wide open. And that's a pretty daunting thing to say because I have no idea what's in the future at that point. I don't know how much I'm going to have to suffer. And there was a lot of suffering because I didn't have the knowledge about how to detox properly. So I got into all kinds of healing crises, made all kinds of mistakes, but I was led to people who some were radical and some were not so radical and other ones were very high level, but it was like going up the rungs of a ladder. And they existed.
And that's incredible. I want to bring up one of the, we have a slide and you have a description of that journey that you were going through, just the hitting rock bottom. And I just want to share that with viewers, and that, that it really, it changed the trajectory of where you were going. And I love the resilience that you've expressed in just describing where you were at that time. And a part of me can only imagine the conversations, how lively they were with your brother. And as you were holding firm and holding space with this decision of, leaving no stone unturned, and what decisions are in front of me right now are limiting and unacceptable.
Right. And, with my brother, he was well intentioned. He wasn't out to, hurt me or harm me, but he just didn't know. He was totally allopathic. He didn't believe in anything alternative whatsoever. He literally told my mom, after I told him I'm not going to do anything the doctors do say in Toronto, I'm moving directly away from all this stuff. He phoned my mom and told her that I was committing suicide. So I was like, when that happened, I was like, okay, guys, pattern interrupt. I need a 24-month window here. Don't bother me. Don't talk about my health. That subject is off the menu. And let's just see what happens. So between 2004 and 2011, I heard a lot of mockery from my brother about the things that I was doing. And then when I started to get very healthy, and I wasn't rubbing it in his face or anything, none of this I told you so stuff, I was not interested in that. He was asking a few questions. And then I told him about things that I thought he needed for his worldwide tour. He was going to sail a sailboat around the world. He'd prepared it for many, many years to do this in his retirement. He was only 60. And he took some of the stuff, but then when he went on his tour, he ended up getting a glioblastoma multiforme level 4 brain tumor that killed him in 3 months, right at the beginning of that whole journey. And he had to stop it and died. It was like, wow. And the stuff that I had given him would have absolutely corrected that, but he would not take it. Even when he got sick, I said, Doug, his name was Doug. I said, he would always say, where's the double-blind, placebo-controlled randomized studies on this? Please show them to me. I go, there are none. If I was going to wait around for those, I'd be dead a long time ago. What are you doing? You're in the process of dying, and this stuff will help you. Nope. No, there were no studies. I'm doing what the doctors tell me, and the doctors told him, you're going to die. And he followed through the exact procedures to his death. And so that was a terrible experience, like major loss. He was a great guy. It wasn't his fault that he was totally conditioned by the medical associations, but that's the way it goes in this world.
It reminds me of, and I'm so sorry for his passing being such a loss, but it reminds me of the saying that everything's impossible until it isn't. And so I can see how the decision was made that it just can't be. But then to your point of being determined to find an answer, find a solution, that relentless pursuit in such a productive way that unlocked, so to speak, new approaches to handling your health. And what, as we're delving into that, what were some of the things that you discovered in terms of, I want to talk about like the phrase, the master keys. What were some things that you concluded that you didn't know before, but through this pursuit, it was super clear going forward how you were going to handle things?
Well, what I noticed was that when I got into the natural health space, it's very similar to the medical space in the sense that it has remedies. And there's thousands and thousands of different remedies down here at the lower level that everybody is kind of in, and that's where doctors and naturopaths and everybody helps people get remedies for their ailments. And I knew that was a very confusing space. It required a lot of skill, a lot of diagnosis, a lot of prescription on both sides. And so I used those a little bit, but then I realized, there's got to be something above that. What I found out, there are master keys that are up above this, that one master key will delete, 500 little keys. And then it goes like that across the board. And it goes towards a biological health, your physiology in the cellular function of your body, your organ function, and all the systems working together in synergy. That has to be corrected. And when you correct those with very specific master keys, because it takes a long time to go and talk about each master key. So we're just touching the top points here. Your body completely dials in, which is all measurable, back to around a 25-year-old biological level of health. Even somebody at my age running right around 25 years old biologically. But the other issue that you're dealing with, which is profoundly difficult if you don't know what you're doing, is your structure. So if you've noticed that everybody's getting knee and hip replacements, for example, or they get frozen shoulders, or they get aches and pains and their structure is getting all seized up, and you look at people from 60 to 80, they become very stiff and very crouched over, and then they can't move and they lose their muscle mass and all those things. The whole structural part of the body starts to fail. Well, I was given a master key on that whole entire system, and that started in 2017. And to give you an example of what that looks like, I had a major knee injury on my left knee when I was 21 that damaged my knee so badly that it took months to be able to walk and run. And then and it healed, but it never completely healed. I would never be able to twist my knee or ever snow ski or water ski again for 39 years until I was 60 because it was damaged and it would puff up like a basketball if I twisted it for a week. And it would be very painful, and it would continuously more aching pain. At 60 years old, I found out how to repair my knee mechanically, physically, myself with no cost, using ancient, rediscovered things that is based on percussion. And within 8 5-minute treatments of my knee, and in 1 week, my entire knee was healed. And I have a better knee than I had when I was young, at pre-injury. Like it's strong. I can do anything. I can twist it as much as I want. There's no issue with and then I did my other knee, which was somewhat damaged. I had 2 major shoulder injuries, not as bad as my knees, but this one was broken in 4 places, pinned up when I was 16. And then this one had 3 different torn rotator cuff injuries. Both of these completely healed. So, and that's just the structural part. Plus it taps into your meridians with all your organ function. So these are master keys that people can learn about. And the product line that we have, it just showed up organically because I was told about this. I thought, okay, well, that worked better than anything else I've seen. So then I would tell people, hey, check this out. And then all of a sudden people couldn't get it. And they're like, where can I get it? I go, well, I'll go get it for you. So that's where it started. That started in 2007 with marine phytoplankton. And that actually founded Activation Products. We've been going for 17 years now. And we have a very specific definitive line that's super unique compared to any other company providing natural products on the market. And so that happened by itself, just by me seeing the stuff that was the most effective and then applying them and sharing it with others. In the 17-year period, we've sold direct to consumer instead of a traditional company trying to build big and sell, which we have no interest in. We just want to build to serve more people. We sold direct to consumer. We didn't go through health food stores. And that way we got instant feedback from people. You know, if I sold you something and it worked, you would tell me right away, oh, it did this and this. I go, oh, okay, cool. And it would go like that. And then some products didn't work and we would take them out of the line. We were told they worked. I thought they worked. It looked like they worked. And it was trending. And then it's like, actually, no. All the white papers and all the studies really, that was just to sell a product. Get it out of the line.
You know,
even after we invested a lot in it.
One question that comes to mind is in the beginning stages of creating this company and being able to serve in this manner. What was the initial feedback you got? Because these are some very bolder, many people might consider this to be bolder statements of look how the body can benefit when we've just historically not seen anything and we've resigned to oftentimes what doctors do say. What was your feedback initially and what did the dialogue look like?
Well, it was mainly the thing that I experienced personally that I shared with others, and then they were telling me that they agreed with that, is that I found out that the longer you live, the more time you're on the earth, the healthier you can become and the better you can feel because you have more time. It's not about being old or young. It's what are you doing with your time? What are you fueling your body with? What are the things that your body needs that is no longer in the food system? It's been long gone, long before we ever showed up in the last 100 years. It was long because there's no minerals in the soil because all the rain washed it all away for thousands of years. That's a whole other story. But it was the realization that I could actually feel better every day and get healthier every day. And I thought, well, what if we found out in every category, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, financial, environmental, and domestic, that we could become healthier in every category every day and they would all tie together. We would feel better, look better, have more energy, better brain power, better digestion, better measuring everything. They go like, that's not supposed to happen. People, as they get older, are supposed to get a little less healthy, and they're trying to fight to hold their health. I'm like, hold it, we're getting healthier every day. And the first product that came was Oceans Alive, and it made me feel like my battery was getting charged up. And after about 3 months of that, I had this feeling in my system, mentally, emotionally, and physically, that was powerful. And there were no stimulants. I had gone completely away from stimulants because I knew they were not good for my system at all. Like no caffeines, no alcohol, nothing, like no stimulants allowed. And I was getting more energy than I'd ever had in my life. And when I would share it with people, I would just put one drop in the back of their hand and tell them to lick it off. It's extremely strong. Normally you put it in fluid. And I would say, come back in 15 minutes and tell me what you feel. And they would come back in about 15 minutes and say, is this stuff legal? Because am I supposed to really feel it like this? And I went, uh-huh. Yeah, you're going to feel like that. That's just one drop.
Wow. That's incredible. We're going to take a break. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this. Thank you so much for watching The Health Revolution. Our show is growing, and it's all thanks to viewers like you. No matter how you found us, please hit the subscribe button so we can stay connected and continue to deliver amazing content to you.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been showing that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
Share this with your friends and family and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
And now we want to give special thanks to Biomed Mobile IV for sponsoring the Health Revolution. Biomed Mobile IV is Colorado's top mobile IV therapy service, servicing throughout the state of Colorado. They offer an array of vitamins and above and beyond safety preparation. Biomed Mobile IV, your dedication to health and wellness is exactly what our show is all about. And we thank you for your support. Welcome back to the Health Revolution. We're spending quality time with our guest today, Ian Clark, who's the founder of Activation Products. He's also an alternative healing thought leader. And one of the things that came to mind as you were, and I'm remembering in our conversations we had before today, is, you talked about 3 concepts: the elephant in the room, the 3 keys, and then humbling realities. And I think it's elephant in the room, humbling realities, the 3 keys. Can you touch a little bit on the significance behind those concepts?
No, the main thing is to physically see the removal of all the accumulation of things you didn't realize were building up in your life. So when you talk about we talked earlier about we're breathing oxygen in the air we breathe, which we have to have. We can't stop breathing anytime soon. And then the consumption of the fuels in the body, and making sure that we're removing everything that's non-human out of our system as it is coming in. So in our life, we find out late often that, oh, wow, something's really wrong. What's going on? All of a sudden, you get this terrible diagnosis, and you have to then take action to remove the accumulation you were not aware was there. And then you are able to just continue to keep that at a minimum. So what comes into your body today leaves today. You're no longer accumulating. You're just on track with supporting your body's ability to heal itself, because your body is hyper intelligent and it knows exactly what to do. When your autonomic nervous system is off and you're in sympathetic stress, that'll shorten your life a lot. So you have to know how to manage that. It's all about supporting the body's ability to keep itself healthy indefinitely. It's not about longevity anymore. It's all about indefinite time. Like as long as you're getting healthier every day, you just stay alive. Who knows for how long? People want to talk about, I can live to 150 years. How do you know? If you're healthier every day, maybe you could live way longer. Or if you don't, then you will live shorter. But it comes down to fuel and cleaning.
There's a story developing on that one in terms of actual time on Earth. One thing and I want to add a little twist to this question. I love the sense of the assurance that you've had, and clearly with the 17 years, that the company has been in existence and having this available and continuing to grow, there's a level of calm and peace. And with all that you've described and some of the ailments and situations that you've gone through, how do you keep a level-headed state of calm?
It's all about knowing that we're taken care of and that everything that we actually have to have access to is provided to us that we weren't aware of. And so once I realized that the world is abundant in all the things that we actually require to have a healthier, high quality life, then all the stress went away, because all the noise and confusion around the fear-based world, the 5 fears, the fear of poverty, fear of illness, fear of criticism, fear of old age, and fear of death. It's like, if you're alive, why would you have fear? Fear is a complex. The only thing to fear is fear itself, as we were told. And that's true. Living a life of courage. Instead of having low self-esteem, why is this happening to me? Why? It's like, what? Okay. Stop that. Like we're taking full responsibility and accountability for everything. You're in your universe, right?
Yes.
I'm in mine. Our universes are colliding and meshing right now. And the gears are meshing, they're not grinding. And so there's a resonance factor. And then we just settle into it because we know we're being led. I personally think we're just getting started.
I agree with that. And, you're very eloquent in how you describe. And so then it's a great segue for me to want to have the viewers be aware of your podcast. I'm going to see if we can bring up the information. Can you talk a little bit about the activated life, and say a little bit about where you hold space?
Yeah, so the main place where we hold the space for people is people who are knowing that they are always going to improve into the future, and bringing in people who have the keys around that particular perspective and attitude, and perception and determination. This is not for people who are just passionate about being healthy. I know I was very passionate about being healthy, and and when I crash landed super hard a few times, that passion wasn't very strong anymore. I was like, wow, that was really bad. And then I realized that it is for people who are determined. When you're determined to move forward and to do whatever it takes, you don't need to worry about the passion anymore. The passion is kind of an automated thing that comes from the determination rather than trying to rely on passion. So we are here serving determined people who don't take no for an answer, who know that they can continuously improve in every category, regardless of their age, and that there are definite sources of information and protocols and fuels in this world that you can do to get better. And really, what is it all about? It's all about so you can be a better service to others. Because if you're getting brighter and more wisdom and more experience to share with people, you're more valuable. Just think about how valuable you were 10 years ago compared to today. You're way more valuable here today. And just think in 10 years from now. So every decade you keep putting on to the future, and you just use this decade to get a few more decades, and then use those decades to get a few more decades, you're then able to be here for your your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and so on, and be of service to people. You're here for everybody around you, and you get taken care of automatically.
And real quickly, where is the podcast? Where can viewers find it?
Well, it's currently, right now, when we're on this call, because it's not published yet, it's just in launch status. It's going to be on all the platforms from Spotify to Apple to everywhere. And of course, the YouTube channel. I can be found on TikTok, personal brand for Ian Activated, Instagram, all the different platforms. We're putting educational information out there so that people can get in there and get some really definitive things quickly.
And so we're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this.
Hi, this is Clara Capano, your host for Women Winning Their Way, where we talk about how you can create success all on your terms. Join us Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Limelight Network here on E360 TV.
Welcome back to the Health Revolution. Welcome back, everybody. My guest today is Ian Clark. He is the founder of Activation Products. He's also an alternative healing thought leader. And Ian, can you remind us all where you are found on globally, on the internet, on social media?
Well, I have a few different handles because we couldn't get them all the same, but it was Ian Activated is most of them, and then Ian Clark Activated is the handle for Instagram. And so people can find me in those areas. I have short sound bites. I'm also on Twitter. So we're publishing information all the time, which is all educational based. We also could be found at activationproducts.com. People can subscribe to our newsletter and to our email broadcasts, which also share a huge amount of health information and get access to special, different discounts for products and bundles and things like that, and learn. Just really is an educational portal, and then an access to wonderful products.
One last thing, of course, we're running out of time, but one last thing I wanted to ask you is, how do you balance leading Activation Products with the type of self-care that you implement? What are two, if you can pick two areas that are the fundamentals with you balancing out best way you can, whatever that looks like, what would they be?
Well, the primary one is delegation. So getting people up and running and trained in certain areas, and then delegating so that people handle it as a team, and having everybody on the same mission as well. People really know why we do what we do, and they take care of the show, because I have to create the content, do the research and development, and then curate all the information, which has happened. And then on the other side, just making sure I get to spend time with the family, because my wife runs our farm. We have a hobby farm we've been married now for 41 years. We have 7 children. So that juggling act is over. Now the children are juggling their own. But just having time. We have an island that's been in our family for 74 years that my grandfather bought back in the day, and going and resetting there, having reset time, making sure good sleep is happening, and keeping the stress. Like, basically, we're uninformed enthusiasts. Everything's great, right? It's like that.
No, Ian, I really appreciate the value that you're bringing to this conversation. This is the type of conversation we need to be having more of. And thank you so much for your time, your energy, your input, the knowledge that you bring. I think this is definitely you're right about the scratching of the surface. We've only just started. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for your work and the energy you're putting out to the world to bring this knowledge to them. And thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. And for everyone, of course, you can find us on the web at thehealthrevolutiontv.com. You can always subscribe to our newsletter. We will be updating and continuing to do so, show information. You can also email us for show ideas. Upper left-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see the QR code. If it's easier for you to grab that, feel free to do so. And then, of course, as always, every week you can find us on the Achieve TV channel on E360 TV, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. That is all the time that we have. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, take care of you. See you soon.